You bought your pre-construction condo from the developer. A few years have passed by. Now you find yourself in a tricky spot and cannot close your purchase. How do you get out of this potentially bad situation where you can't fund your transaction? This is where condo assignments can help. Let us look at 5 things that make property assignment great as well as tricky. First, what is condo assignment or property assignment in general? An assignment is when you transfer your interest in a pre-construction property to someone else before the final closing date. The original buyer is called the assigner and the new buyer is called the assignee. So, an assigner sells his or her interest in the property to the assignee. Your purchase agreement with the builder will be assumed by the assignee who becomes responsible for closing the deal. Let me give you a quick example. John purchases a condo from the builder. Closing is a few years away. Later on, for some reason, John wants to sell off his unit and finds Andy who's willing to take over the unit. In this scenario, John becomes a signer and Andy is a assignee, and he will not take over the original agreement with the builder. In a booming market, speculators buy their newly built property from the builder with an aim to make quick profits by flipping the condo before closing. Well, as we have seen in recent times with low pre-construction demand, that doesn't always turn out that way. Some condo flippers have lost money either by assigning at a lower than purchase price and losing a part of all the deposits paid to the builder, or they were unable to close because they could not find a buyer in time before closing. Now you will say that opens up opportunities for bargaining hunters, and that is true. Buy at a much lower price and then you reap towards when the market improves. I've dealt in assignments for my clients who bought for as much as 20% below their purchase price. Now that's a deep discount. Second thing to remember, and this is the key thing to remember, is that you don't even yet own the condo, the builder does. You're selling the right to complete the purchase to someone else. The assignee then takes over the contract and closes with the builder. Simple, right? Here is the third aspect to this. When you decide that you want to get out of your contract with the builder, you'll need to check your agreement of purchase and sale that you signed and make sure assignment is allowed. Most builders do, and they charge an assignment fee, and you'll need their approval to go ahead after you make an assignment deal with the new buyer. You will now search buyer. This is where it gets tricky. Can't list your condos on public platforms like MLS because, as I just said, you don't own it yet. If you do list, you risk breaching your contract with the builder and you'll be asked to take it down, and in some cases it could lead to the termination of your contract and lose your deposits. So then, how do you find a buyer? Real estate agents like myself who specialize in assignments are your best bet. We have network of agents who deal in assignments and potential buyers. We understand the legalities, making us your best bet for a smooth transaction. An assignment deal can be much more complicated than a regular deal. As specialized agents, we know how to navigate the complex rules around condo assignments and connect you with a buyer who meets the builder's approval. Along with that, we can also help with the paperwork and legal requirements and make sure everything goes as planned. Let us use the term assigner and assignee for seller and buyer for the rest of this video. So once you have found an assignee and navigate through the paperwork, legalities, and builder approval, we come to the closing date. There are 2 separate transactions here, and this is our fourth aspect. The first closing is between the assigner and the assignee. This is when the assignee pays the assignment money to the assigner, including any profit. Sometimes this closing happens during the interim occupancy period if the full assignment money is paid to the assigner. The second closing is between the builder and the assignee. This is the final closing of the condo. The assignee pays the remaining balance to the builder, usually through a mortgage. This is like any other closing between a buyer and a seller. If the assignment was completed during the interim occupancy period, then the assignee moves in and takes over. If it's done later, the assignee becomes the official owner after the final closing. And now, to our last point of discussion, what are the benefits and downsides? The first benefit is that you are the original buyer, the assigner, of a pre-construction condo. A major advantage of doing an assignment sale is that it allows you to avoid breaking your contract with the builder if you're unable to complete the transaction on closing date. Without the option to assign, you'd risk losing your deposit or facing legal action from the builder for breaking the contract. Another benefit for the assigner is the potential to make a profit. Assignment amount is negotiated amount over and above the original deposit that can reflect market conditions, increase property values, or demand for the building. Essentially, this amount is your financial gain for transferring the purchase agreement to a new buyer. Equally true is the opposite situation where the assignment deal is done just to cover the full or part of the deposit paid to the builder and no profit is made. If you are the assignee, this can be a fantastic opportunity to buy into a condo building that was already sold out. In this 2024 market, where many buyers are willing to lose their builder's deposit, these opportunities are popping up almost every day. The assignee can buy at discounted prices that wouldn't be available at the builder sale. Additionally, you might get a chance to choose a condo with a prime location or desirable layout that wouldn't have been available otherwise. This is especially beneficial in high demand areas where inventory is tight and you might not have other opportunities to get into a specific building or neighborhood. What are the downsides for both assigner and assignee? The primary challenge for assigners is finding a buyer without traditional marketing channels. As I mentioned, unlike typical real estate sales, you can't list your condo on MLS or advertise openly. This can make it difficult to attract buyers and can lengthen the time it takes to find someone interested in taking over your contract. If you can't find a buyer, you're still on the hook to close the deal with the builder, which could lead to significant financial strain. Another risk to assignment deal is that assigner is still liable to complete the final closing with builder. If the assignee is not able to do it, this happens very rarely though, and I haven't or seen such a situation, but it is important to keep it at the back of your mind. On the other hand, as an assignee, you're taking over an existing purchase agreement with set terms. There's less flexibility for negotiation compared to buying a resale property. The price, closing costs, and other conditions are already locked in by the original buyer, and you have to accept those terms. This can be a downside if the original purchase agreement isn't favorable or if you have come into the process expecting to negotiate specific terms. Another downside for the assignee is the risk associated with the condo's final conditions. Since you weren't the one making the initial purchase, you don't have a say in the unit's layout, finishes, or other customizations. Additionally, if the original buyer made any changes or upgrades to the unit, you might have to pay additional cost. On the whole, though, condo assignments can offer benefits for both the assigner and the assignee, but they also come up with their own set of unique challenges. And let me emphasize that if you're considering an assignment sale, it's crucial to work with professionals who understand the process, including real estate agents who specialize in assignments and legal and tax advisors who can guide you through the potential risks and requirements. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more real estate insights. And if you have any questions or topics that you'd like me to cover, drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.